Well, hi there. My name's Adam, and you're watching Motor Trash on YouTube. Okay, y'all. Today we're joined by my 1967 Chevrolet Belair that we call Ellie. When I got the car, it was a straight 6 with a 3 on the tree. As you've seen the interior clips, it's now floor shift, 3-speed still out of a truck, and then this 350 came out of a different truck that we had. This is a bare bones car except for it is factory AC, which is no longer hooked up, but it is manual brakes and manual steering. The only thing hooked up other than the water pump is the alternator as far as what the engine runs. The only thing I did to this motor before throwing it in the car and thrashing the ever-living crap out of it every time I drive it are the shiny Holley valve covers. Unfortunately, those Holley valve covers kind of lie a little bit. I'm sporting an Edelbrock at the moment. I believe it's a 750. I'd have to check the numbers, but I'm actually borrowing that from a friend at the moment who did swap to a Holley. I just need to rebuild the Holley that was originally meant to run on this engine. But that Edelbrock works so well, I don't have a reason to change it. Now, as far as the work that I'm planning on doing tonight, truth be told, it's unnecessary and somewhat backpedaling from what this car's future is going to be. This is the car that I plan on putting the big block 454 and 4-speed overdrive transmission in. A real quick fact about this car is it has never had an exhaust system that went past the driver's door. When we got this car as a straight 6, the exhaust was rotten to the point where there was a small section somewhere under the body that was good, and then there was a hunk of exhaust leaned over the back axle, but everything else was rotten off. And all I did when it was a straight 6 was run flex pipe, and it ended up coming out right underneath the driver's door. And as you can see here, as a 350, this exhaust is the only exhaust that has ever been on the car. Manifolds. I used to have a set of block hugger headers and had planned to run a full exhaust on this car, but me and my local exhaust shop weren't able to get the right bends because of how it ran and the center link on the steering. So it stayed like this. That being said, the work that we did at Cody's house and all the engine swapping led to a full exhaust system now being available, as well as the headers here that came on that Biscayne. This exhaust system is not factory by any means. It was built by a shop down by him, and it's not the best, it's not the prettiest, but I'm curious to hear this 350 sing through a full exhaust system. And if I'm being honest with you, I just like to drive the car and not get a headache from the exhaust fumes and not get a headache from how loud it is. And while that sounds a little whiny, I've got 410 gears in the rear with a 3-speed, no overdrive, so highway 65, 70 miles an hour, she's screaming. So we're going to solve that, even if it's only temporary, because this exhaust isn't going to work when I put the big block on. It's going to have to get something different. More on that later. Alright, so with that, I'm going to get this car up on jack stands and get to work. In hindsight, probably should have done these first, but fortunately I don't think they're going to fight me too much. Those haven't been on there too long, so let's go get those off first. Alright, how's that? I feel like y'all can probably see better than I can at this point, which is fine. Just tell me if I'm doing something wrong. Oh yeah, those were on there. Tight. I said these manifolds haven't been on here that long, and I mean that, they haven't. But I don't even remember putting them on. I remember giving my block hugger headers to Cody. Let's see if I can get these off without having to disconnect all of the plug wires, which look, oh, they're just stained. Again, this thing runs at incredibly high RPMs on the highway and likes to shoot oil out every now and then, but those days are all but over for this little car. Yeah, I knew I threw that down too soon. Just anything to make things harder on myself. Okay. Are y'all as bad as keeping up with your stuff as I am? I know I've got one, maybe 2 packs of manifold gaskets somewhere in here. I'm going to spend a little bit more time looking for them, and if I can't find them, I'm going to pick this up tomorrow evening. Okay, that's it for me tonight. Dinner's going to be ready here in a few minutes, and I cannot find those gaskets. So I'll pick those up tomorrow on my lunch break, and we'll get back on this thing tomorrow evening, and hopefully we'll get it all finished up and hear what this car, this motor, sounds like with an actual exhaust. Okay, so it's the next day. I did use my lunch break to go get parts, so I've got those, and I actually had a little bit more time and went ahead and got some work done. Let me show you. So first up, we do have the new exhaust manifold on. I did have to use a little bit of RTV in there. I used some stuff that David Freiberger turned me on to. Let me go grab that. And what we're talking about is the Permatex Right Stuff 90-minute. And actually, this is not the stuff that he talked about. I think I grabbed this because of the 90-minute. What he talked about in his video was some stuff that said easy disassembly. Yeah, I guess our disassembly will not be easy, but that stuff's set up in 90 minutes, so worth it to me. Real quick, I also used some on here. This is the heat riser or whatever extra flange. I didn't want to remove the studs, put shorter studs in, or space it, whatever. I didn't want to deal with it, so it got RTV'd. That being said, I don't know that I'm going to have to use this. This is for the passenger side. As you can see, it's just a clear center dump. And, well, let me show you what I have on the passenger side right now. So here is the passenger side. And if you pay real close attention, you'll notice that some of the studs are out. Because I wasn't thinking and just started pulling them off to put on that other manifold. This is center dump. There's no need for that. Although I do see a missing stud. That's okay, I have studs I can use. So, with where we're at in the process right now, all that's left to do is see if his exhaust from his automatic 4-door fits my stick shift 2-door. Now, if I'm not incorrect, all of these 67s, and I'm pretty sure I am correct, all of these 67s share the same frame. I think the wheelbase is completely identical between 2 doors, 4 doors, hard tops, what have you. I do know the convertible has some extra bracing or something in it, but for our purposes today, this should be good. Something I was concerned about was the Z-bar and shifter locations and linkages and whatnot, but I've been under there once or twice and everything seems like it's going to check out. So come on under with me and we will get this in place. Let's go. Okay, So I got that rear mounted up. Yeah, it's a little close to the drive shaft, so that is probably going to end up getting moved, but it's held in place for now. So, on to the front. Let me get us in there a little closer, a little better view. Okay, so step one of this is going to be ignore all signs of oil leaking. Because remember, this engine is not permanent. Alright, I don't know if you can tell, I've got the new donut gasket in there. Or the flange gasket, I think is what the parts house called it. I've got all three of these nuts started, so I'm going to go ahead and run those down. Okay, driver's side is on. Again, I might change that rear. It is super close to the shaft, but it's got to swing around quite a bit to get to come in contact with it, and it's not tight back there yet, but there's other places I can stab it. I just got to get back there and do it. It's just easier to do the front when the rear is supported, so that is absolutely the new low point on the car, though. So that's cool. Well, I take that back. The bottom of that bell housing, they're about tied for it. At least how I can see. Might show up different on video. Which one's lower? You tell me. Okay, so here's a little better view of the rear. That's the driver's side. You can see it's just a rubber exhaust strap with a bolt through it, going through a hole in this cross member of the frame, or whatever that's called. So I've got the passenger side here. I'm gonna throw it up and get this bolt through a hole as well. Do what I did on the front one. Okay, there's the passenger side done. I'm going to crawl out of here and put some bolts back in that manifold. Then we can fire it up and see what it sounds like. Now, I don't always use my step ladder. Most of the time I prefer my real ladder. But in this scenario, I think the real ladder would be a little bit too big. Okay, give me just 1 second. I'm gonna go grab the keys and we're gonna see what this thing sounds like. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but this is gonna be a cold start. There's hand on the exhaust manifold. And I guess I'll try and do this all in one take. She might take a second to get fuel up to the carburetor, but let's go try it out. Okay, not too sketchy. Couple of pumps. Holy crap. So quiet. Little on the droney side. Oh my goodness. The fan is loud. That's incredible. Well, that's going to do it for this video. I'm leaving the car running for the outro because I can, and y'all can hear me, and that's kind of cool. That being said, be sure and like and subscribe and ring the bell thing so you can get notifications about when we post again. We're going to do more on this car for sure. Like I said, this is the car that I want to take to No Name Nationals. It's the car that I want to put a big block, a 4-speed, and a positive traction rear end in. So if y'all want to see any of that, be sure and subscribe, follow along, whatever. Because to get to No Name Nationals next year, 2026, we need 500 followers, or subscribers, I guess, here on YouTube.